Today class, my name is Fogakate Amos, and in today's class, we are going to build a login HTML CSS form. As you can, this is a form that we are going to build. We are building this form for those that were not in our previous class, because this was what we implemented in our last class. So I want to just record this video for those that were not in the class, in the previous class. So this is what we are going to implement. So without wasting much time, let's go to our Visual Studio Code. In our Visual Studio Code here, you create a file named form. You can name it anything, form.html. And then you create a boiler template. You name the title login form. And then now there's something I want to point out. This gray background here, let's name it, give it a div called box so that we can control it. Box. Now we are giving it. Now the next thing is this h1. You know, this is an h1, but I would prefer we name it h1. So we give it h1, and then the name is tech skill login. Yes, I think that is it. And then after that, come outside. No, not come outside here. Now, after the whole thing, you see this is a form. We have selected is a form. So we now create a form tag. Between the form tag, you leave the action, you just push, you put hash here because you're not processing it. Then between the form tag, you create a div. Now, why are we creating that div? We are creating that div because we want this username and this input field to be in the same div so that we can control it very easily. The same thing applicable for this. So without wasting much time, I'm gonna come here. We're gonna create a class with form control. And then in that place, in that div, we'll now this is a label and this is an input. So when I come here, when I do the label is for what? Username. So do username. When I come to the input type is text because the username is text. So that I will now do a placeholder. If I want something to be a placeholder, I'll enter your name. Enter username. Now when I duplicate this same div for password, but we'll make small adjustment for this for password. Here is password. And then the type is password. Then enter password. Good. So we'll now come out of this div. We're going to create another div for the button. So let me bot. Then let me type bot, and then you open the button tab, and then you do login. First name will be TN. So that's all for the form. So let's go live and see. Let's open the page in our browser. Do you see this is it? So let's minimize so that we can start. Let's minimize. Now we are done with the HTML. So let's create the CSS file. We name it form.css. Now this is an external CSS, so we have to link it to this page. So you do link. Real is style sheet, and then you do form.css. You save. So you know by default we have default default margin padding, and then the box sizing is not the box sizing this content box. So we have to reset them. So to reset all that, put star, undo margin, 0, 0, box sizing is border box. By default, is content box. So once you say now we have reset that automatically. So let's start our styling. The way I like doing my styling, I like doing my styling inside, from the outside to the inside. That's outside to inside. I will start with the body. So first of all, I will select the body and I will give the background color of the body as Alice blue. It has to be lighter. You see that's changed. But before then, let's change the font family. Let's not use the default font. We'll change it to this, and you see that's changed. Good. So that's for the body. And then let's select the box, because next is the box, which is this. So it's a class, so you put the box now in the background. So we'll use anything. Let's use this. You see, that one changed. And then we'll do max width. You can use width or max width, but the disadvantage of using only width is it will not be responsive. There'll be a scroll bar vertically. So we don't want that. I want it to be responsive. So we use max width of 4 px. You see it. Then we'll do margin of 20 px top and bottom, left and right photo, so that it can be in the center. Then padding of the space between the container and the content is too close, so we want to have spacing in between. So we now do padding of 30 px. So border radius of so that the edge will be curved. Border radius of px. Good. So we are now seeing it's now changing gradually. We are beginning to get this, but we are not yet there. But we'll soon be there. So next we'll select our H1, because that is the next element you're supposed to start, which is H1. But because while we're selecting only the H1, because only one H1 we have, and by in a normal convention, we want H1 you're supposed to have, but you can give it an ID and then style that ID. But for the sake of this class, we just call it text line center, so it can be in the center. Margin bottom, so that the margin at the bottom will be X, and then the X transform will be upper, because we want it to be in uppercase. Then we want to add the padding of X. Good. So after that, now let me explain something. The label and the input are direct children of form control. The same thing applicable for this. So this, from our design, this is stacking on top of each other, same here. But from what we did is falling beside each other. So in this type of behavior, we call it inline behavior, but we want it to be a block level element so that they can stack on top of each other. So we can convert this inline element. I could call this form, call this class, and then we select, because label and this is label and the input that I want it to stack on top of each other. So we select the form control class. You do direct the arrow and then start. There's any tab directly under that. We want the display to be locked. You see, boom. See, it's going to make sense. So we now do width of 100. Are we there? So now you notice where we are typing is very choked up, right? We want it to be bigger. So we can come here, we select input, the input, and we'll give it padding. Now watch what you see. It's going to make more sense. Then I want to give the color of the border with the border. You see, good. And then when the space between this password and this, want to add the margin. So margin bottom is 20 px, then border radius so that we can have call edge of 5 px. So now move to the label itself. Label, we want to increase the label, which is the username and service to be, should we use 1.1 line? Yeah, it's big. And then we'll do margin bottom of mpx. This is beginning to make sense. So now we'll start our this login button here. We select, we give it btn. Pattern color is and top and bottom, then 20 px left and right. You see color is right. Color is white. So let's call the edge of that button, but border radius is what is the value? Let's give it 5. So that should be so much. 10 margin top. Let's give it 20 px. Font size. So let's increase the font size of that. Let's give it 1. It's going to make sense. Now, when you hover over it, the cursor is not pointer, so we want to make the cursor pointer. So should be so when you hover over it, you see nice pointer. It's pointing. See. So let's remove the border around that black border. So and then there's something we want to add. When you hover over it, the background should be dark and then it should shrink inside small. So with that, we'll now use we select btn, use hover do selector and put the background color. Use RGB 100 10. Now when you hover, you see the color is not changing. All right, but it's doing very fast. So let's do that. Let's do trans and then the size transform scale. So by default is 1, so let's do 0. So you see it's what is fast. So you come to the btn and you do transition. We have 0.5 seconds. Out. We have ease in, ease out, but we use ease in out. So let's see now. It's now nice. So let's open it here and see. Now this is our final product, and this was what we have before. So thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to my video so that I can make more content. If you have any question, feel free to reach out to me in the comment section. Thank you so much and have a nice day.